Hey guys, Tony here, and in this video I want to talk about different kind of targeting that we can do with YouTube. And this goes back to the core traffic sculpting strategy, where we're using in-stream ads to build some very targeted audiences. Anybody who watches those videos, well, they get put onto a remarketing list, and from that remarketing list Google creates a similar audience, and then if we use the same video and we use the targeting from the similar audience at that point with the same video, then that just automatically will grow the original remarketing list, which in turn gets bigger, and so does the Google similar audience, so that we can basically build our own traffic sources within YouTube. And it's a very good and effective way to make sure we got really targeted audiences, because we're basically letting Google and YouTube do the targeting for us. Okay, it's using its algorithms, and probably they're very similar algorithms to what they use for suggested video in YouTube organic as well. Okay, so this can be really powerful if we get it right. Now I'm going to show you how this works. Okay, so what I've just told you now, I might have gone a little bit too fast if you're not familiar with this stuff. Let me show you here in this very sort of crude looking mind map here. Okay, so we have a video, okay, a YouTube video ad. Okay, this is one video, and we're going to use this 2 times. This same video, we're going to use it 2 times. Okay, so what we're going to do is we either use placements or we can use affinity audience segments. Okay, I'm going to show you the second way, the affinity audience segments. Placements you're probably all familiar with. We can use tools like the Ad Blaster True Placement tool. We can go and find tens of thousands of video URLs, not 300 from like some of those other tools. We can go and find thousands, and then we can filter down and make sure they're really accurate, and we can get very targeted audiences that way, without having to bid against a whole bunch of other people who's got the same URLs. Okay, so having a large enough inventory can keep our costs down. At the same time, it can get us our audiences built very fast. And then once we start to drive traffic using either the placements or the affinity audiences, well, what happens is anybody who watches this video, we have set this up so that they get added into a remarketing list. Okay, so anybody who watches this video gets added into a specific remarketing list. So let's just call this remarketing list YouTube Ad 1 remarketing list, okay, for want of a better term. Okay, so I'll just put that in there. And that means when, say for example, we got 12,000 views here, and we have built this remarketing list, well, a similar audience is created from Google. Okay, a similar audience is created from Google. Okay, so this Google is using its own optimization or its own suggested video algorithm, whatever that might be. Hold on a second, I've done something there that I didn't expect to do. I'll just get rid of that. There we go. That's how you do it. Okay, so this similar audience is created automatic. Okay, it's absolutely automatic. You don't have to do anything here. Right now, if I've got say 10 or 12,000 people in this list, this similar audience is going to be much bigger. I'll show you an example of that in a second. Okay, usually it's much bigger. So this gives us a larger audience that we can target the next time we do a video. So if I use this same video the next time, and instead of using this remarketing list, but I used this similar audience, then basically we're getting the sort of Google suggested video algorithm if we're using just YouTube. Okay, it has to be similar. How can it be different? Okay, and so every time somebody watches this video again, they get added into this list, and as this list gets bigger, so does this one here. Okay, does that make sense? So we can basically build our own traffic source. This is going to be our traffic source here. Okay, this is going to be a traffic source here, but this is still a very good traffic source. Now we can make this traffic source even better. Okay, we can make it even better, and the way that we make this even better is that we can do what I call stacking. Okay, what everybody calls stacking, not just me. And that means that we can use, for example, the similar audience that's been created along with some extra targeting. Okay, so we can do extra targeting with keywords, we can do extra targeting with geo locations, we can do extra targeting with even placements if you wanted to. You can do multiple, you can stack. Okay, so here's an example of what I'm talking about. I'm just going to show you some audiences that I've got in here. So you can see here I've got my channel here, and basically my channel, you can see that I've got this similar audiences. You can see similar to, okay, and you can see my similar to audiences 3 to 5 million. Now if that isn't really targeted, if that starts to sort of go off a little bit, then I could end up getting huge amount more impressions, less people clicking through, and that could maybe not give me the results I want. Okay, and we can do something about that just by adding an extra stack in there. So let me show you that campaign, this campaign here, which is the campaign that I've got open, just different tabs, etc., so that I don't need to click about and you don't need to wait for things to load. Okay, so you can see this video here, I got 12,100 views. Okay, we had about 1/3 of the people stayed over 30 seconds. Okay, altogether there was nearly 37,700 impressions. That means people started to watch the video, but they X'd out before the 30 seconds. Now, people X out because they do it by habit. Some people X out because they don't have time for that. Some people X out because they just don't like the introduction to your video. It can be many, many different things, but think about this as branding when you're doing it for in-stream ads. Okay, you can do in-stream ads, and that's like branding. If you do another video and they start to see that, and then another video they start to see that, then one time they might just, you know, take the time to listen and understand, and before you know it, you got them into a remarketing audience, or you sending them over to a landing page and collecting an email address. Okay, but you can see here 12,100 views. Now this is in Thai bahts, 4,500. Let's see how much that is. 4,520 Thai baht. Okay, 4520 THB to USD, and you can see for $133, I got 12,000 video views for $100, basically $130. Quite good, that. And these are really, really targeted. Now, if I take the targeting for this video and I break it down, okay, and I'm looking at specifically what was working for this video, and here's where the twist is. If you've been watching before the traffic sculpting stuff, what I'm going to show you from this point forward is completely new. Okay, so what I did with this one is I used audience segments, like affinity audiences. These are people who are interested in some other things, and what I did is I made up some audiences and I saved them, and I tested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different audiences. Now this was done deliberately so that I could see any audiences that were standing out, and you can see here the one I called test SEO. Well, it did really well. You can see it got 7,394 of those views. Now if I go and do this ad again, but using the same video, using the Google similar audience, and then I stack it as well. Okay, I stack it as well, and what I'm going to do then is I'm going to add, in fact that's the wrong one, this time only the test SEO. Then you can see how powerful that can be. Okay, why? Because that test SEO is not like a bunch of URLs from placements. Okay, the test SEO is a combination of different audiences that I put together and I created an audience segment with, okay, according to the options that was given to me. Okay, so that audience segment was a clear winner from a choice of 6 of those different affinity audiences that I created. Okay, so by creating that affinity audience and testing 6 of them, now I've got a clear winner. Now I know that if I run this ad with the similar audience here from Google, which I believe is very, very similar to the suggested video algorithm, okay, plus I'm using the test SEO, then you can see how I'm stacking my targeting, and you can see how powerful that would be. So the key is that you do some audiences and you save your audiences for in your audiences tab. When you come up here to tools and settings, you can go into audience manager, and basically you can create audiences from here. I'll do a separate video on how to do that. Okay, I'm not going to cover that in this video because it would make it too long, and I'm trying to keep this under 10 minutes right now. If you do this and you have 5 or 6 of these and you've got a clear winner, then when you start to stack it with the suggested video audience, let's just call it that because it seems like a fun thing to do right now, okay? If it is similar to that, then you can see just how powerful that is. Very, very, very powerful. So even though we're going to tap into the suggested video kind of algorithm or something similar, even though we're doing that, we're using something we know it's working with the test SEO, and that keeps refreshing all the time as well. Okay, why? Because it's different audience only based on interest. It can be based on interest, but based on what they searched in the past week, for example, in YouTube and in Google as well. Okay, so when we're targeting them, these are people that have recently shown an interest in that topic, in that keyword. That keyword could be how to do YouTube ads, for example, something like that. Okay, so that's how we can do this. Okay, so to recap, let's just come back over to our slide over here. We run in-stream ads, and we're going to use affinity audiences to test. Okay, use about 5 if you can. It's not hard to create them. I will create a separate video on how to do that so we can keep this one shorter. When you run the ads to that video, it's going to create a remarketing list. Okay, and then when the remarketing list is created, Google will create what it calls a similar audience. Okay, now if you are just targeting within YouTube, I do believe that that similar audience has to be something similar to the suggested video algorithm. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Okay, I've been doing search engine optimization for over a decade, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of similarities there for these two different audiences, as they call them, two different audiences. Okay, now if we run that same video with a new ad and we start targeting the similar audience, and plus we use the best performing affinity audience, as long as it was performing decent. You can see that one was a clear winner here. When I run that campaign here, the test SEO one was a clear winner by a distance. Okay, so if I start to run that audience with the similar audience, then we are basically, we're still giving the similar audience a little leeway, but at the same time we are basically doing the stacking with our targeting to make sure that it is spot on targeting, because we know that people from that audience are interested in this. Okay, for that particular topic, are interested in this. Okay, so we don't really need to change anything with the ad copy and anything like that at the moment. We can test that later. What we have right now, we can just run straight away and expect to get some good results. Okay, and all the time that that's happening, it's going to keep building that remarketing list, which is your traffic source that you're building. You're building your very own traffic source. Now, when do you use that traffic source? Well, if you think about what we've got here, it is your own personal go-to traffic sources, because what you're doing then is you're building an audience of people who have already watched your videos. Okay, so they are familiar with who you are. Now, what we're doing here is taking advantage of that because they're a warmer audience, and what I suggest you do is you try to move them from YouTube into an email list. Okay, if you can get them into an email list, and then you can nurture them via autoresponder series. And one of the most effective ways to do that is to put in a case study of a strategy that is working. Okay, that's what I do with my stuff if I'm targeting sort of internet marketing niche. And I can show them case studies about affiliate marketing, or case studies about search engine optimization, or even case studies about the YouTube ad stuff now. And basically when you start to show them this and you invite them to a webinar, or you invite them to some extra training, or you invite them to a community that you're building, like a Facebook group or a Skype group, that takes things to another level, especially if you got them into these groups, because they get to know you, they get to trust you, and you get the opportunity to market whatever you want to promote, whether that's an affiliate offer, your own services, your own product, wherever it might be. Okay, so another way that I suggest you use these remarketing audiences is for in-feed ads. Now, if you are doing YouTube videos and it's important to you to get views with retention time, etc., if you want to trigger some algorithms within YouTube, then you could try to do that with this remarketing audience. And the reason for that is because they're familiar with you. Okay, and if they've already watched one of your videos and you're targeting them with an in-feed ad, well, those ads they need to click on to watch the video. So they've already been targeted the first time and they watched your video the first time. okay, and then they're seeing your ad because you have remarketed to them, okay, and then they have chosen to click on your ad. Well, that's kind of 3 steps now. They're more or less verified along the way as being interested in your content. So the chances are that you will get some good engagement signals from them, whether it's the watch time, the retention time. If your content is good, then that increases because they're familiar with you. So you could use the in-feed ads for that as well. That's a very, very good way if you want to try and trigger some algorithms, maybe for the suggested video on YouTube. And what's interesting about that is, although although YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, well, if you talk to a lot of YouTube creators, they will tell you, the sort of more successful ones, they will tell you they get more traffic from the suggested video. So even though it's the second largest search engine, the traffic coming from suggested videos is bigger, and that's because of that algorithm that YouTube has got for targeting people who are interested in a specific topic. So you want to trigger those algorithms, you need the retention time, you need the watch time, you need to have those engagement signals. Maybe they're doing some social sharing, maybe they're liking your video, etc., etc. It's really important. Okay, so with that being said, that's all I got for this video. If you have enjoyed the videos that I've been doing over the last few days, there's a link in the description. You can go and watch another video, like how to get 10,000 video views to any video you choose. Okay, have a watch of that and try it yourself. It's not even expensive, just go and do it. Okay, so you know how to do it. Then if you know how to drive 10,000 video views, then you also know how to drive 100,000 video views or 500,000 video views. It's really just down to making a decision, because traffic in YouTube is a commodity. You just buy it. Okay, so all you have to do is get your targeting, and you can go and spend money and you will get traffic. Okay, it's as simple as that. Now, if you got some value from this, please like the video and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There will be more of these videos coming out over the next few days. Thank you for watching.